Good morning, and welcome to Trichology Tuesday Tea with Tracie, where I spill the tea on all things trichology. Thank you for those who will tune in and join me this morning with Trichology Tuesday Tea. I'm going to be inviting my dear colleague Penny in to join me in just a minute here, but I just wanted to share a little bit today about what we'll be talking about. Our topic is, what is trichology? What is a trichologist? What we do and why you need us. Penny and I were having a conversation, and we just was sharing with each other how we come across so many people who still don't know and understand trichology, who we are and what we do and things like that. A lot of times I'll go to events or I'll be out in the world and someone will ask me, what are you, what do you do? And I say, I'm a trichologist. And they're like, what is that? So there are so many people that still don't know who we are and what we do. So we kind of wanted to share that. So I'm going to just invite Penny. Let's see if I can get, if I Yes, think I should have done that. Let's see.
Hello.
There you are. We did it.
We did.
Yes. Penny, how are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. You look beautiful.
Well, thank you. Same with you.
It's summer. It's summer. I got my summer hair in. We just came back from vacation. We went to Costa
Oh,
Rica. I've never been.
gorgeous.
Have you ever been to Costa
No,
Rica?
I'd love to go.
Yeah.
What was the highlight of your trip?
I'm gonna say the highlight of our trip for me was the excursion we went on, and it was wild. We went horseback riding, we did zip lining, we did the waterfalls, we did this big slide where I felt like I was gonna fly over the side of the slide, but it was 15 of us, family and friends, and
Oh,
we just
amazing.
had a really good time. So yeah, so
Totally
this is
unwound.
yes.
That sounds
Yes,
perfect.
yes, yeah, yeah. So we had a good time. We had a really good time. So thanks for joining me again, Penny. It's always a pleasure to have you to come on with me so we can spill some tea. Spill some tea. So
Yes,
you have your tea, I have my
absolutely. Got
tea.
my tea. I sure do. I've got a nice cuppa going
Yeah, I
here.
got my
Absolutely.
tea with me. So we're gonna drink tea and spill some tea. So Penny and I, we like to be prepared. So we've written down our little talking points, and we're going to just kind of piggyback off of each other and just share some things that we think are important. Like I said, we were having a conversation about trichology and about how people still don't understand really who we are and what we do. So we kind of wanted to break that down in a little bit more detail, and so I'll just kind of start with what happens when you come in to see us. So when you come in to see a trichologist, for the most part, you're going to have some type of intake process, a consultation. So I do a very comprehensive consultation and trichoscope analysis. I think some people think that you're just going to come in and then you're just going to look at their hair and then just spit out some information, but we gather lots of information about the person, who they are, their medical history, if they're on any medications, if they have any type of systemic issues like hypertension or diabetes or thyroid issues, or if they've just had a baby, or if they've had COVID or a surgery, or if they've had a big weight loss or something like that. And then we talk to them about their diet, what they intake, what they eat, what they don't eat, if they're taking any supplementations. We talk to them about their family history. It's very important not just to know if they have family history as it relates to hair loss, but other challenges in their family. If they have the family members have autoimmune problems and things like that. What kind of medication are they taking? How long have they been taking the medication? They have any female or male problems, medical history. So we go in great detail. We also ask for blood work. Many times I, on my intake form, it says if you have any blood work, any recent blood work within the last 3 months, send that to me ahead of time. We view that. We go over that very thoroughly. We see if there are things in that blood work that may be give us reason for pause or to dig deeper to figure out if those things can be having an impact on the reason they are coming to see us. um so you want to add to that, Penny, about what you ask about when clients come in to see you?
Absolutely, and I will continue with the blood work. So one of the things, I don't pretend I'm a nurse practitioner or a doctor. I come in on a very, like Tracie, a very homeopathic level. So the blood work that we would be looking for is only pertained to hair loss. So,
Right.
for example, I would be looking at your ferritin levels. Now, a regular doctor might determine your ferritin levels could be anywhere between about 40 to 50. But for when you've got hair loss, we need to see them up at least to 70
Right.
to make sure that you really have robust hair, because that's maybe a reason why you're shedding. We want to see what your vitamin D level is. A lot of us are all low on vitamin D. Again, D's very critical. There's been lots of studies done on vitamin D to make sure our vitamin D levels. If you're vegan, sometimes you're low in B12. So again, this is the blood work that we would be looking for. Like for example, maybe you're a little reliant on laxatives or dietary substances. That means to say your zinc might be depleted. Again, we would see that in your blood work, or we would maybe suggest that to go and have additional blood work. So that's sort of areas of blood
Right.
work that we look at.
That's correct. And a lot of times, clients don't realize that some of the things that they are doing, like you shared, we talked about someone being vegan, right? And that, we're not here to judge whether you should be vegan or whether you shouldn't, but a
Right.
lot of times we need to explain to you why being vegan or having an absence of certain things in your diet could be causing some imbalance, which could be lending to your hair loss.
Yes.
Or say, for instance, you are a blood type O, but you are vegan. That can sometimes be a challenge for you because blood type O people really thrive from having meat in their diets. And if you don't have any meat in your diet, but you're blood type O, that can be a challenge for you. And you may not know that. You may not realize that. As a matter of fact, I had a client just very recent. And she was a blood type O, and she said she really liked eating meat, but she decided to go vegan for whatever reason, years ago. And that triggered an autoimmune problem for her. And so she needed to start to add some of those things back into her diet. And when she started to do that, she saw her hair growth start to change and thrive. So, it really does make a difference. And so we examine all of those things. We explore all of those things. And like to piggyback off what Penny said about optimal blood work. So when you optimal levels in your blood work. So where the doctor might say, this is in within range, this is in within range, it may be within range, but for optimal hair growth, the number needs to be this. And so we will share that with you and help you to understand why that's important. So I'm having a very comprehensive consultation is something that you will experience when you come in to see a trichologist. And I've had clients to share with me that when they go in to see their derm, and not all derms, but some of them, they don't ask these kinds of questions. And many times they don't have the
Yeah,
time
that's
to
the
sit
thing.
with you
They
to
just don't have the time.
ask. Yeah, to ask about these things where my consults take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half sometimes, depending on the medical history, because I am dissecting and breaking down all those things. I may ask one question about their health history, and it leads me down another path that I need to explore so that I can make certain that the client is getting what they need. So you experience a very comprehensive consultation, a trichoscope analysis, so that we can take a closer look. Though being a trained trichologist, you shouldn't have to rely on the scope to tell you what's happening, but it should be a very good tool to help you to see and confirm some of the things that you may be finding, correct?
Oh, that is such a good point. No, because when you're actually speaking, when I'm speaking to my client, and you're right, I'm sitting there with my client in a private setting, it's one-on-one, nobody else is around us. So you can feel confident to be able to, just exhale and feel like, we can talk things through and
Right,
let's find out what's caused this. So the more I'm listening and the more questions that I'm asking, I can then really determine, okay, this sounds like maybe it's a case of seborrheic dermatitis, or
right,
maybe it's beginning to sound like you've
right,
got acute telogen
right,
effluvium.
right.
And then I'll pick my derm
That's
scope up
right.
to determine, say, oh, this
That's
has
it.
confirmed this. Oh,
That's
no,
it.
you know what? No, this hasn't
That's
confirmed this. Actually, it's
it.
something else.
That's
But
it.
here's something else. If we don't, this is where we come in, we bridge the gap between the dermatologist and the
Yes.
cosmetologist. Because the cosmetologists, they're experts in making you look gorgeous.
Right.
That's their job,
Right.
to make your hair look gorgeous. The dermatologist, unfortunately, doesn't have enough time, or they genuinely are not experts in
That's
hair
right.
loss, which
That's
is
right.
not being detrimental to the dermatologist. My gosh, the skin. I mean, it's huge amounts of study. So we come in and we can really focus on that,
Yes.
and then that way we can determine, is it an array of
That's right.
issues that's going on, or is it just one targeted
That's
issue? And
right.
that's where our studies have
Yes.
really come into
So
play. So
true.
in
So
in
true.
trichology studies, we both studied for 3 years, and
Yes.
we did 2 clinical trainings as
Yes,
well,
we
where we
did.
had to do internal. So we studied
Yes.
chemistry, and that was the understanding of ions and bonds and
Yes.
molecules.
Yeah.
We did training in nutrition,
Yes.
microscopy, and physiology of the
Yes.
skin. Now, obviously, only pertaining to the scalp, not
That's right.
all over.
Right.
But that's what our background is. So
Yes.
that's why we have an understanding of the molecular structure of the hair, the scalp, the epidermis, the dermis, and the hair growth follicle, and understanding stem cells, and understanding maybe why the hair is not growing, or why it is growing, and why we're going grey, or maybe why we're not going grey. It's the hair follicle is fascinating,
Yes.
and that's something that we're specialists in.
Yes. That is very true. We had a very comprehensive course that we took, and not only that, we did that, but then we also take advanced courses even after that. We travel all over the world in different states and countries for our training. So, I mean, we've been doing this for many years, what, like 13, 14, 15
13
years,
years.
but
Yes, you and I were
every
at our
year.
bar exam and our clinical training 13
Right.
years
We
ago.
did. We did. But we still do advanced training. I was on a call on yesterday. I'm a part of another association, and um we do training on every week on Mondays. We get together, a group of us, and whether right now we're doing blood chemistry analysis, functioning, and so understanding how those tests can explain to us what might be happening. Like Penny said, we don't try to step over into other fields as being doctors or nurses, but we do try and educate ourselves so that when we see things, we understand, okay, what might that be saying, and and where might we need to refer
Yes.
this client too, and things like that. So we are very comprehensive in our consultations. Trichoscope analysis. I also do a health analysis. Sometimes clients don't have blood work, and so I have a health analyzer that kind of gives me an overview of where they are today, gives me an idea of some things that I may need to say. Okay, you know what, on my health analyzer, it's giving me this reading. You might need to go and have your vitamin D checked, your iron, your ferritin, your zinc, your potassium, your iron, your thyroid,
Yes.
your cholesterol levels, and things like that. And so we do take a lot of time. And our goal is to discover what is the root problem.
Yes.
What is the root problem that's causing this hair loss concern? Now, I wanted to circle back because to something you said. A lot of times when I'm doing the consultation, before I ever finish it, I have an idea. I'm going to see seborrheic dermatitis. I'm going to see some lichen planopilaris. I may even see some alopecia areata. Whatever it is, just based on the information
Yes.
before I ever have touched the client.
Yes.
And many times they're looking at me like, when are you going to touch me? But I'm spending more time because the answers, the questions that they want, the answers that they want are in the questions that I'm asking and the answers that they're giving me. And so then I can pull that all together and then confirm, when I start to look with my hands, my microscope, my trichoscope, what is happening. So beware, we would say, of people who are, you walk in and they've not asked you any questions and they just say, this is what it is. I would question, well, how is it that you know that if you've not done any examination to figure out what's happening?
Yeah, and that's my guidance to anybody listening right now is, when you're booking for a trichologist, you want to see their qualifications. I proudly have all my qualifications up on the wall the minute you walk in the door. I'm sure you do, Tracie, as well.
Yes,
And also all my qualifications are online.
yes,
Go
yes.
online and have a look. And you do this for yourself. Like, you owe this for yourself. Don't think of like, oh, this is an influencer. No, well, he must know what they're talking about. You owe this to yourself. You're investing a lot of money in yourself. It's very frightening, hair loss is.
That's
It's not
right.
to be
That
underestimated. It's
that's so true.
frightening. It's demoralizing. It's soul destroying. It ruins your confidence. It's not to be taken lightly. It's not, so you really want to make sure that you are going to a certified or board certified trichologist. And
Yes.
that, and you'll see their qualifications. And then when you see their qualifications, Google that organization and make sure that they are registered on that organization.
True. It is very true that you need to make sure that you are that you're sitting before someone who is experienced and who understands and who has been trained. That is very important. I've had clients that I may be the second or third person that are trichologists that they've come to. And it's just true. Not all trichologists are equal. And Penny and I are not trying to sit here and say, we are the only trichologist that knows anything in the world. That's not what we're saying. But
No,
what we are
no, that's
saying,
not what we're saying.
yes, what we are saying is that we have studied, and you should want to sit before someone who is qualified to help you, and not someone who has not had the proper training. And so one of the other things we wanted to talk about is, what does it really mean when someone says you have alopecia? Because I'll get this, people will call and they'll say, well, I have alopecia. And then I'll say to them, well, saying that you have alopecia is really not saying a whole lot. Alopecia just means hair loss. And there are so many types of hair loss and scalp problems. So to say that you have alopecia is really not saying a whole lot. What you want to know is what type of alopecia that it is that you have. Is it alopecia areata? Is it telogen effluvium? Is it female pattern thinning? Is it male pattern thinning? Is it folliculitis delcavans? Is it lichen planopolaris? Is it so? There are so many different types of hair loss, and I know this is one of Penny's talking points, so I'm just going to lead her right into it. But there's just so many different types. So when you leave out of that trichologist office, your goal should be to have discovered, or at least begin to discover, what type that is. So if you leave and they say that, oh yeah, you have alopecia, well, you haven't learned a whole lot about what's going
You
on.
haven't.
Yeah. So do you want to share about that,
I
Penny?
do. I want to touch on that for sure. I do. I had a client in actually last week who was sort of, but not quite sure, and she's been to see her dermatologist. And my goodness, there are a highly trained dermatologists that understand diseases of the scalp. Let's get
Yeah.
that front and center.
Yes.
And I work with quite a few of them. I
Yes.
really do. So, but she'd seen somebody out of town, and this particular dermatologist obviously clearly didn't know much about hair and was like, well, I think it's alopecia areata, not to worry, here, what we'll do, we'll give you some, we'll do a cortisone shot, we'll do a
Yeah.
steroid shot, and we'll call
Steroids.
it a day. But
Mhm.
she came into me and she's like, well, I'm just not sure, I'm not sure. And, she's suffering from cicatricial alopecia, which is
Okay.
CCCA, which,
Yeah.
which is actually unfortunately, it's a permanent form of
Scarring
alopecia,
alopecia.
and
Yeah.
it needs to be treated immediately
Yes.
because it spreads.
That's right.
So I work with two of the leading hair loss experts here in New York City, and I gave her the information right away. I said, here are the two doctors' names that I work with. I said, I need you to call them immediately, and we need to set up an appointment immediately.
Yeah.
Now, I also do a follow-up, because people, when you're being told you're going
Yes.
bald, and this is a disease and it's not coming back,
Yes.
you are now in a state of terrible shock.
Yes.
So walking out of my office thinking, Jesus Christ, what the
Yes.
hell is going on
Yes.
here? I'm overwhelmed. So I always make a follow-up phone call the next day. How are you feeling? Can I help? Like, can I make that phone call for you?
Yes.
And my client actually said, Penny, I'm processing everything. I
Yeah.
will make that call. Now it's been a few days since I've seen her. So this morning I sent an email saying, let me help you. Have you made the calls?
Yeah.
Have you set your appointment up? If you haven't, I'm going to call for you.
Yes.
I'm going to make this appointment for you. And that's how dedicated we are to
Yes.
helping you.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's not about me selling you some products and lotion and potions saying,
No.
yeah, I can fix this. Under
Right.
no
Right.
circumstances. If I've been trained to understand what scarring alopecia is.
Right.
And the minute I see
Right.
it, you are sent off to an expert right away.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very important to diagnose correctly as to what it, because if you're, some of them do look similar, alopecia areata, there may be a bald spot and it could be in the same area as Penny was talking about, CCCA, or center centrifugal cicatricial alopecia. Big word, and it does happen here in the center. And sometimes people misdiagnose that. They'll misdiagnose it as female pattern thinning. They will misdiagnose it as alopecia areata. They will misdiagnose it sometimes even as lichen planopolaris. So,
Yes.
you again, it's very important to understand and know what type. And here's the other thing. There are times when you are experiencing several
All
different types of hair loss and scalp
absolutely.
problems all
All
at the same time.
at the same time.
All at the same time. I've been having
Perifolliculitis.
folliculitis
Yes.
delcavans,
Yes,
along
exactly.
with
Frontal
some,
fibrosing. Yeah.
yes, along with some seborrheic dermatitis,
Yes.
and then you may
Yes.
even have some alopecia areata going on and some traction along with that. So you want, again, to take the time to discover each of these different types and then put together a protocol that's going to address all those different things. And it is not just about putting something topical on the scalp. There are
Right.
some times that you will need topical treatments. There will be. There are times that Penny and I both will. I have a product line and I'm a part of Association Holistic Practitioners of Trichology that has a wonderful holistic line, and then Penny introduced me to another wonderful
Yeah,
line,
I
and
love my Trico tanning.
and they have different topical that because we both like to take a holistic
Yes.
approach and an all natural approach whenever possible, with our treatment protocols, and so we do use those things, but we also know that many times it has to do with what is happening internally, and there's some changes that will need to be made, and so we share that with our clients as well. So just knowing that there someone telling you that you have alopecia, you've not discovered a whole lot. That just means hair loss. Alopecia just simply means hair loss. What you need to know is what type. Is it
What?
alopecia areata? Is it female pattern baldness? Is it male pattern baldness? Is it cicatricial alopecia? Is it folliculitis del cavern? Is it diffuse? So you want to know what type, and do you have more than one? And can you be misdiagnosed by a professional? Yes, you can. Is it frontal fibrosing? Frontal fibrosing sometimes looks like traction alopecia, and many times to the untrained eye. I'll say that to the untrained eye, it looks like traction alopecia. Because if you are trained, then you know with the frontal fibrosing, then there's an absence of follicles. With traction, there may be still follicles there, or there may not be follicles there. So again, it may look like lichen planopilaris is many times confused with female and male pattern thinning. So, you want to make certain that you are diagnosed correctly, and that all of the different types of alopecia or scalp problems that you are experiencing have been discovered, and then you address all of those. What else did we want to talk about, Penny? What else do you want to share with our listeners?
I think also about scalp oxidative stress,
Okay, all
which
right,
is a
go ahead.
really is a biggie at the
Yes, it
moment
is.
because a lot of people have got under tremendous amounts of stress.
Yes,
So our nerve endings, believe it or not, actually our nerve endings are actually round the hair bulb
that's
themselves.
right.
So we're under a huge amount of stress. Our sympathetic nervous system is like completely overtaxed,
That's right.
and our nerve endings are really inflamed.
Yes,
Our nerve endings are really near very the top of the
it is.
head. So sometimes you might feel this like tenderness.
Right.
Now that's where I have to really determine, like, is it a tenderness where I think it could be like some form of a lichen planopilaris, like a form of like a
Yes.
disease or something that I need to go get a biopsy,
Right.
or is it just a sense of that you're just so stressed out
Yes.
that everything's just super tender on your head?
Right.
And again, it goes back to this sort of like long conversation that
Yes.
we're going to have,
Yes.
and that's really helpful for when I can actually send this also off to the doctors with you,
Yes.
trying to say, well, this is what we chatted about. Here are some images. Maybe after a biopsy, hopefully the doctor can rule all of this out, and just trying to say it's just like a matter of you like really helping calm your nerves down a bit.
That's right. Yeah, I have a chart in my office. And like Penny said, this was all done in privacy, and that's another thing you want to be aware of if you're going to see someone and they just kind of have you out in the public, just talking about all these very important and private things.
Private,
That's a
yes.
little bit of a red flag as well. You want there to be some privacy there with you and the professional, because there's a lot of things that we want you to feel free to open up and share all of these things. We're talking about stress, and sometimes there's some private things happening in your life that is bringing on the stress, like divorce, or maybe you're going through a bankruptcy, or maybe you're experiencing some kind of health issues, or maybe you've had a lot of loss in your family. I had a client to come in, and on my consult form I have an area, and it says, what is your stress level? And it says high, medium, and low. And they circle it, right? But even if they circle low, because sometimes I'll say I have a low stress level, but I really don't. My stress is up here. It's just that I kind of carry it pretty well. But I know that even though I may be carrying it very well, my body, I cannot trick my body into not knowing that my stress levels can have an effect on who I am and how I move and how I be. So even though I'm saying, no, I'm not stressed, it still can have an effect on my body and as well as the growth of my hair. But on this chart, it shows, and there are three things and that are really important for optimal hair growth, and that's nutrients, and that's we talked about oxygenation, and then the sympathetic nervous system. And I show them the sympathetic nervous system and just how attached it is and where it is and how close to here on our scalp it is and how it affects our hair growth. So if you are stressed out but you're not addressing the stress, then you are not going to experience optimal hair growth. I'm not saying that your hair won't grow, but you won't experience optimal hair growth many times. And so addressing stress is important, and that is most certainly almost always part of the protocol treatment plan that I create for my clients is addressing the stress and not just giving them something to take to manage stress, to help manage stress, but helping them understand what is it that you like to do? What brings you peace? Do you like to
Yes.
work out? Do you like to meditate? Do you pray? Do you run? Do you like yoga? Do you like to
Dance.
dance? Yeah, what do you like to do? And then I try to make that part of their treatment and regimen plan also. And then that following up part that Penny talked about is so very important. People leave sometimes devastated by some of the news that we have to tell them. There are times when there are scarring alopecias where they may just be in the early stages of the scarring, and so they're still able to grow hair back around the areas and different things like that. But then there's times when they're burnt out. Like you've been experiencing this for 20 years, and there is, at this point, your option is hair augmentation. I am not able to assist you with that. I won't lie to someone if they have had scarring alopecia for 20 years and the follicles have been destroyed, and to tell them that 100% you're going to grow all of your hair back. That is an unrealistic expectation. And so, but telling them that can leave a person very distressed. And sometimes people, it can affect them drastically. And so I follow up with them about, what their other options are. You don't want to leave them that way, with just saying to them that you're never going to grow your hair back. And you want to follow up and find out how you can help, how you can assist. I have many other professionals in my Rolodex, including therapists and a psychiatrist and things like that, because sometimes you do need to refer them. We talk about referring them out to medical doctors and dermatologists and things like that, but it could be psychological, even with trichotillomania, and you may need to refer them to see someone. So you want to have find someone that also has a Rolodex of other professionals that they can refer you out to when what they can do for you stops right here, but they may need to connect you with someone else that's gonna assist as well.
I want to piggyback on what you just said there. It's so critically true, Tracie. I started like yourself. We were hairdressers, and when you start as a hairdresser, you're listening. You get to know to take care of people. That's what we're doing. We want to take care of you. We want to make you look gorgeous. And so it was a natural progression to become a trichologist. I want to take care of you. When you're sitting in my chair, I'm not just here to flog you some products. and to give you some bad news or some good news. I want to take care of you. I'm here to walk on a journey with you. I'm going to walk by your side, and I'm going to make sure that you're not to feel alone,
That's
because
right.
it is psychologically, it is extremely damaging. And
Yes.
if there is anybody listening today that works for big product companies,
Yes.
please listen, hear what we're saying.
Yes.
It's, the consumer is very overwhelmed, very frightened. The first things that as a trichologist, that I hear when a client sits down in the chair is like, I've got no idea what shampoo I'm supposed to be using. In fact, I don't like washing my hair. My hair falls out. When I wash my hair, it falls out. I'm so frightened. Please be so careful when you're touching my
Yes.
head. And that, just to have that fear.
Yeah.
So imagine, just to have that, and just to have the confidence to be able to even walk into my
Yes.
trichology center, their heart must have been pounding.
Yes.
Like, geez, is this person, what, they're going to have to touch my head? They're going to,
Yes.
what the hell they're going to say? So I do outsource, just like you,
Yeah.
Tracie. I make sure that I work with a cognitive therapist,
Yeah.
and I also work with a psychologist as well.
Yes.
So I, definitely refer, my
Yes.
clients who are having terrible struggles, and trichotillomania is one of
Yes.
them, where when it becomes to like an obsessive compulsive
Yes.
disorders, and the awful thing is you started off just having hair loss. You never even had trichotillomania.
That's right.
You didn't even have an obsessive compulsive disorder,
Yes.
and now you've been losing your hair.
Yes.
You've morphed
Yes.
into obsessive compulsive disorders.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
I'm not trained in psychotherapy. I don't
Right.
pretend
That's
to
right.
be,
That's
but
right.
I have resources. Just as Tracie said, the Rolodex. My
Yeah.
Rolodex is big.
Yes.
So I'm constantly working with doctors, just to outreach points of view,
Yes.
and say, I like this doctor, I like that doctor. Please reach out so
Yes.
you can get the professional
Yes.
help that
Yes.
you need.
That's true.
See me holistically, and see maybe somebody else medically.
True. That is so true. And you have so many other options that that you can utilize. And I have a colleague, Nadia,
Yeah.
Nadia, and
Yes. Yes.
she dives into so many different areas in her trichology clinic, even dealing with those kind of traumas and things in the client's life that can affect hair loss. And we've done training on all of that, and although I don't on some of that. And although I don't offer all of those things in my clinic, some trichologists do, and so we just want you to know that when you are seeing a trichologist, we are dealing with the whole person.
Yeah.
I think that's what we want to get across to you, that we are dealing with the whole person. So when we say holistic, it's not just about the hair, but it's mind, body, spirit, all of
Yeah.
that we know plays an effect on the health of your body, which in turn plays an effect on the growth of your hair. So all of those things are so very important. So, what is trichology? Trichology is the scientific study of the hair and scalp. And though that sounds simple, that's a whole lot within that. And what do? We service men, women, children with hair loss and scalp problems. And who needs us? Everybody. Everybody that's experiencing some type of hair loss or scalp problems. You may need us. You may need to see us, and we are here to serve you. Penny's in New York, and I am in Southern California, and we're both part of a great organization, International Association of Trichologists. I'm also a part of Holistic Practitioners of Trichology. And Penny, you're a member also of, tell them.
Beautiful psychology in
Yes.
United Kingdom.
Yeah. And so we've done extensive training. We didn't stop just with one organization. We decided to dive in deep with this. We spend thousands of dollars. Penny and I were on the phone, the same conversation. And Penny will be attending our wonderful conference in Dubai this year. I
Yes.
won't make it there, but I am so happy that Penny's going to be able to attend. And we travel all over the world to get advanced training, to learn more, to share, to hear from other trichologists, and other studies, and what's new, what's the newest updates, what are the newest treatments. And we can't, it changes so quickly. What was yesterday is not today. What's today is not tomorrow. And so we have to stay updated, and we do. And so we just want you to know who we are, that we are here to serve you. And even if you're not in our area, you can reach out to us and we can help you to find someone in your area. And if
Yes.
not, we may be able to assist you virtually. But that's our tea for Trichology today. Is there something else that you want to share, Penny?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any hairdressers or salon owners listening right now, and you ever want Tracie and I to just come on and we could do a Zoom with your team, I know the two of us have
Yes,
got a wealth of
yes,
knowledge that we'd be happy to bounce some ideas off with you.
yes.
So it's not a problem. Just give us a shout, and
That's
I'll
true.
show you
That is
that.
so true. Yes, and I just finished my ebook, and it will be out soon from Chair to Clinic. So if there's any stylists out there that are interested in transitioning into or have transitioned into trichology, but are not just quite sure how to set up your clinic and what to do, because that's just the first part of it, right, Penny? Getting
Yes.
the training, but then setting up a functioning clinic is a whole nother ball of wax. And we
Yeah.
didn't really have anybody to assist us with doing that. And so out of
We
that,
rely on each other.
we were each other. It was called, what do you need? What do you have?
Constantly
What do you do?
calling.
How do you do? Yeah, so I have an ebook, and that's from Chair to Clinic, so it will help you understand the important things about how to set up your trichology clinic, and then and what forms that you need. It's very different. It's very different from cosmetology to trichology. I also have a YouTube channel. Shout out to Mikey. I think she might be on. She helps me with my social media. She's really helped me to branch out. Even with this Trichology Tuesday Tea, I get nervous getting online and things like that. But I have a YouTube channel, so
Oh, great.
Trichology with Tracie. You can check that out, and you can find Penny
Yes.
online as well. So thank you, Penny. Again, it's always great to have
Oh,
you
Tracie,
and
thank
to
you for having
come
me on
and
your show.
share.
And
I truly
congratulations on your new
appreciate it.
book.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'll be having that very, very soon here. And thank you for all your support always, and always hanging out with me. And thank you for all of those who tuned in
Yes,
to
thank you.
Trichology Tuesday Tea with Tracie, where we spill the tea on all things trichology. Until next time, bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.